Alright YouTube, I'm going to show you real quick how to change the brakes on a 2003 through 2007 Toyota Highlander. Things you're going to need: 19mm for the wheel studs, 14 and 17mm for your brake caliper and brake caliper bracket consecutively, new pads, new rotor if you choose to do so, screwdriver, hammer, a clamp of some type to compress the caliper back together, or you can bleed it back, brake solvent so you can clean the cosmoline off the rotor and clean any brake dust, and a rag. Alright, so you're going to need a jack and a stand, vehicle on relatively level ground, hard ground, so you can jack it without it falling over. Make sure the vehicle's in park and set the parking brake, which is right there. As for a jack point, you can use the stock jack, which fits right here in this gap on the frame, or I use this hydraulic jack and I put it on the bottom of the subframe there, and then I'll put my jack stand on this body mount frame right here. Now before I lift the vehicle in the air, I'm going to break all the lug nuts loose so the wheel doesn't want to spin. Alright, now I have the vehicle lifted and supported, the wheels off the ground. As you can see, I can move it. I'm going to finish taking the lug nuts off and take the wheel off. Alright, the wheel's off. I'm exposed to the rotor, the caliper bracket. I've got this screwdriver here. I've shoved it in between the pads and the caliper itself so that I can pry back to give myself a little wiggle room here on this caliper so I can get it off easy. So I'm just giving gentle pressure, pulling back on it, retracting the piston a little bit. You see now the caliper moves a little so I can get it off. Right here on this ear is your 14mm there and there. It should be snug but not too tight. We're going to take the caliper off of the bracket. Alright, we have the caliper off. Here's your brake pads right here, chilling by themselves. Alright, caliper's off. I have it resting up on top of this knuckle here. Some people choose to hang it off the spring by wire or something, but it's not hanging from the brake line. It's resting on top of this knuckle. It's okay. Now we're going to take our pads out. They just fall out just like that. They just pop out. Now we're going to take our 17mm. We're going to break the big nuts holding the caliper bracket on, which they happen to live right here. There's one, and there's the other, hidden. You can kind of see it. Well, there it is. That's your two 17mm. They're going to be on there pretty tight. I think they run about 120 foot-pounds. Alright, I have the caliper bracket off. Put it to the side here. Now the rotor you're going to have some trouble with depending on your climate. Sometimes they just pop right off. Sometimes they like to get stuck and you have to hammer them. What will happen is right here at this edge where the rotor hat meets the, the hub, it'll rust up right on this edge here and the rotor will get stuck. And you'll have to hammer it, as I've done here. I'm not keeping these rotors, so it doesn't matter. But you can do is take some Scotch-Brite and clean this up, or put a little grease on there that comes with your brake kit to keep that from corroding in the future. Alright, I got the new rotor cleaned and installed. You want to do is spray it down with some brake part cleaner to get the cosmoline off. It's a anti-rust agent. You don't have to, but it helps the brakes from stinking for the first couple miles. I've pressed the caliper back in. Now you want to do is make sure up in the top that the brake fluid doesn't run over if you do this. Or you can choose to press them in and bleed them. It's just my choice to do it this way. You can choose to do it another way. I have the caliper bracket back on, and I've also changed the little slides here. They're stainless steel. I took the old rusty ones off of here, or corroded ones. Now I'm going to put the caliper, brake pads and the caliper back on. Brake pads are very simple to install. They have a shim on the back already. You simply place them in their little slot right here, and you just rotate them into place, just like that. Brake pads installed. Now, if you live in a corrosive climate, you may want to pull these pins out of here, clean them, and re-grease them. These, the grease is still plenty clean, so I'm not going to bother them, and they still move very freely with no problems, no grinding, anything. But if you live somewhere where you get a lot of rust, or if you live on a lot of dirt roads and such, you'll want to pull these, clean them, and re-grease them. Alright, have the caliper back on and tightened up. I don't know the torque specs specifically. I just know this wrench with a couple knocks down is good enough. If you want to look the torque specs up, be my guest. Now I'm going to put the wheel back on, tighten the bolts back down. Alright, wheels back down, car safely lowered. Check your brake fluid reservoir, make sure it's sufficient, which it is. Now I'm going to do is release the parking brake, drive the car, have a nice big parking lot here, and pump the brakes a few times before I back out, because they're going to have to expand a little. And then to seat your new brakes in, you accelerate moderately 20-30 miles an hour, hit the brakes hard 5 or 6 times, let them cool off, do it again. They'll smoke a little bit, maybe stink, and then you're done. Hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, rate, subscribe. Have an awesome day.